Letting go also brings about a sense of freedom. We often hold on to relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of disappointing others, or fear of the unknown. These fears can keep us stuck in unhealthy dynamics, where we continue to give and give without receiving the same level of respect or care in return. But when we release these toxic relationships, we gain the freedom to live authentically and make choices that align with our values. We no longer have to worry about constantly seeking approval or trying to appease people who do not respect us. This freedom extends beyond just relationships. It affects every aspect of our lives. We can make decisions that prioritize our happiness, well-being, and personal goals without the fear of judgment or rejection from those who do not value us. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about a powerful concept that is essential for our emotional well-being. Let go of those who don't value you. It may seem simple, but it is one of the hardest things to do. However, it is necessary for our growth, happiness, and mental health. The first idea I want to explore is self-worth and boundaries. Each of us carries a unique value. Our ideas, our time, our energy, and our emotions are invaluable. Yet often we find ourselves in relationships where others fail to recognize or appreciate that worth. They might take our time for granted, disrespect our opinions, or overlook our needs. When this happens, it's easy to lose sight of our own value and start doubting ourselves. However, we must remember that true self-respect comes from acknowledging our worth and setting boundaries. It is vital to teach others how we expect to be treated and recognize when those boundaries are being ignored. The moment we let go of those who don't value us is the moment we begin to affirm our self-worth. Understanding your own worth is one of the most powerful steps you can take in building and maintaining healthy relationships. It is fundamental to recognizing the need for boundaries, which are essential in safeguarding your emotional and mental well-being. When we truly understand our value, we can confidently decide who should be part of our lives and who should not. Self-worth isn't just about recognizing your abilities, but also about honoring your time, your energy, and your emotions. From an early age, we are taught to value others, to show kindness, and to put the needs of others before our own. While this is an important quality, it can sometimes cause us to neglect ourselves in favor of others. As a result, we might remain in relationships where our worth is not acknowledged or respected, simply because we fail to see our own value. The truth is, if we don't recognize our worth, others are less likely to do so either. This can lead to unhealthy patterns in our personal and professional lives, where we allow ourselves to be undervalued. When you begin to understand your own worth, you start to set healthier boundaries. Boundaries are an act of self-care and self-respect. They define what you are willing to accept and what you are not, based on your values and needs. Setting boundaries isn't about being rigid or rejecting others. Instead, it's about teaching people how to treat you. It's about showing others that you won't tolerate disrespect or neglect. In relationships, boundaries can manifest in different ways. They can be emotional, physical, or even time-related. For example, emotionally, you might recognize that it's important to protect yourself from people who continuously drain your energy or criticize you. Physically, you might set limits on how much of your personal space you are willing to share with others. Time-wise, you might realize that your time is valuable and choose not to engage in activities or commitments that don't align with your values or goals. When we fail to set these boundaries, it's easy to slip into situations where we are being taken advantage of. Whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, if they don't respect your boundaries, they're essentially telling you that your worth doesn't matter. And when that happens over time, you might start to believe it. But by setting clear boundaries, you communicate to others and to yourself that your needs and your well-being matter. Self-worth and boundaries are intrinsically linked. Your understanding of your own value is the foundation on which your boundaries are built. Without a strong sense of self-worth, boundaries can become unclear or easily broken. You may allow others to push past them because you believe their needs are more important than your own. But when you start to prioritize your own worth, setting and maintaining those boundaries becomes second nature. Moreover, embracing your worth allows you to walk away from relationships that aren't serving you. When you recognize that you deserve to be treated with respect and kindness, you no longer have to tolerate toxic dynamics. It's about creating a life that is aligned with your values, where people treat you with the same respect that you show to others. The more you understand your own value, the less likely you are to tolerate disrespect, and the more willing you are to make decisions that protect your emotional health. Understanding your own worth and establishing boundaries is not just an act of self-preservation, it's an act of self-love. By honoring your own needs, you create space for relationships that are based on mutual respect, trust, and appreciation. This, in turn, leads to a life that is more fulfilling, where your energy and time are spent with people who value you for who you truly are. Remaining in relationships where we are not valued can have a profound impact on our emotional and psychological well-being. The simple truth is that being around people who consistently fail to appreciate our efforts, time, or emotions can lead to a cascade of negative feelings that drain our energy and lower our self-esteem. These unhealthy relationships often carry subtle but significant consequences that we may not initially recognize. Over time, these relationships can become a source of constant frustration, self-doubt, and even depression. Understanding the impact of such relationships is critical to making the decision to let go of those who don't value us. One of the most immediate effects of being in relationships where we are not valued is the emotional toll it takes. When our contributions, whether in the form of time, love, or effort, are overlooked or dismissed, it can create feelings of neglect. We may begin to question our worth, asking ourselves why we are not enough or why others fail to see our value. This sense of unappreciation can make us feel invisible, unimportant, and unworthy of respect. The constant cycle of giving without receiving anything in return can lead to emotional burnout, where we feel depleted and emotionally drained. Furthermore, being undervalued in relationships can cause a deep sense of frustration. We begin to feel like we are putting in all the effort only to receive little or no acknowledgement. This feeling of imbalance can result in resentment. We might find ourselves angry or bitter at the people who have consistently failed to recognize our value. Over time, this frustration builds up, turning what might have once been a meaningful relationship into one that is fraught with tension. Instead of feeling supported and understood, we may feel as though we are constantly fighting for recognition and validation. The longer we stay in these types of relationships, the greater the impact on our self-esteem. When we continue to invest emotionally in individuals who don't value us, we begin to internalize the belief that we are not worthy of respect or love. We start to question our own abilities, character, and sense of self. Our self-esteem diminishes because we have allowed others to define our worth by their actions or lack thereof. This erosion of self-worth can extend beyond the relationship itself, affecting other aspects of our lives, such as work, other friendships, and our personal goals. The toll is not only emotional, but also physical. Prolonged stress caused by being in undervalued relationships can manifest physically. The frustration, sadness, or anxiety we experience can lead to health issues such as headaches, fatigue, insomnia, or even more severe conditions like high blood pressure. This physical manifestation of emotional strain shows just how deeply these toxic relationships can affect us. The longer we remain in these situations, the greater the impact on our overall well-being. Another consequence of staying in relationships where we are not valued is the missed opportunity for growth. Each of us deserves to be in an environment that nurtures our potential. Being around people who truly see our worth can help us grow, both emotionally and intellectually. But when we remain in relationships that are unfulfilling or toxic, we may find ourselves stagnating. We may stop pursuing our dreams, neglect our personal development, or abandon our passions because we've been too focused on trying to please or seek approval from those who do not appreciate us. Staying in relationships where we are undervalued compromises our happiness. Life is too short to spend in toxic, one-sided relationships. Letting go of these relationships allows us the opportunity to prioritize ourselves and our well-being. It opens up space to form connections with people who genuinely care about us, who appreciate us for who we are, and who offer the same respect and effort in return. Choosing to walk away from those who don't value us is not an easy decision, but it is necessary for maintaining emotional health, preserving self-worth, and fostering a life that is fulfilling and supportive. Letting go of relationships where we are not valued is often a difficult and emotional process, but it is also one of the most liberating and empowering actions we can take. When we make the conscious decision to release toxic or unfulfilling connections, we are opening up space for personal growth and new opportunities. It is a decision that signals self-respect and a commitment to prioritizing our emotional well-being. As painful as it may be initially, this act of letting go creates the freedom to pursue a life filled with positive, supportive, and meaningful relationships that align with our values and aspirations. The first benefit of letting go of those who don't value us is the space it creates for personal growth. When we are stuck in relationships that drain us emotionally or cause us to feel undervalued, it becomes nearly impossible to focus on our own development. Our energy and attention are often consumed by trying to gain approval or validation from others, which leaves little room for personal goals, hobbies, or self-improvement. By walking away from these relationships, we free ourselves from this emotional baggage and create the mental and emotional space needed to invest in ourselves. We can focus on pursuing our passions, building new skills, and growing into the person we want to become. In this newfound freedom, we are able to reframe our priorities, rediscover our interests, and set healthier goals for our future. Additionally, letting go of relationships that no longer serve us empowers us to surround ourselves with people who genuinely support and encourage us. Relationships are meant to be mutually beneficial, providing both emotional nourishment and growth. When we remove ourselves from connections with individuals who do not appreciate or respect us, we create room for individuals who uplift us, challenge us in healthy ways, and help us grow. These supportive relationships contribute to a positive and nurturing environment where we feel seen, heard, and valued. The people we choose to surround ourselves with can have a profound impact on our mindset and motivation. By letting go of those who don't value us, we are also making a conscious decision to cultivate relationships that contribute to our well-being and help us become the best version of ourselves. Letting go also brings about a sense of freedom. We often hold on to relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of disappointing others, or fear of the unknown. These fears can keep us stuck in unhealthy dynamics, where we continue to give and give without receiving the same level of respect or care in return. But when we release these toxic relationships, we gain the freedom to live authentically and make choices that align with our values. We no longer have to worry about constantly seeking approval or trying to appease people who do not respect us. This freedom extends beyond just relationships. It affects every aspect of our lives. We can make decisions that prioritize our happiness, well-being, and personal goals without the fear of judgment or rejection from those who do not value us. Moreover, letting go of those who don't value us opens up the possibility for new opportunities. When we remain in unfulfilling relationships, we often become so entrenched in the emotional dynamics that we miss out on other possibilities that may be better suited for us. By letting go, we create space not only for new relationships, but also for new experiences, career opportunities, and personal adventures. The process of clearing out what no longer serves us can feel like a fresh start, and it allows us to move forward with greater clarity and purpose. Letting go of the past opens up new horizons that we may never have considered while we were still holding on to relationships that kept us stagnant. In the end, letting go of those who don't value us is an act of self-liberation. It is about reclaiming our worth, protecting our emotional health, and making space for the things and people that truly matter. Though the process can be challenging and filled with moments of doubt, the rewards are immense. We regain control of our lives, nurture our personal growth, and create the freedom to form connections that support and inspire us. It is a step toward living authentically and ensuring that our energy is spent on relationships that enrich our lives rather than diminish them.